Good evening to my lecturer, Sir Pau. I'm Nur Amanina binti Muhammad Samsuri. My metric number is MC230522363. So today I'm going to make a presentation about reflection. So the purpose of this reflection is to analyze a recent simulated teaching experience, which is the micro teaching, focusing on teaching integrated listening and speaking skill. So this reflection will help me evaluate my performance during this micro teaching and identify strengths, areas for improvement, and actionable steps to enhance my teaching approach. So in the recent micro teaching session, I taught a lesson for Form 3 students on the topic describing food, which was part of Unit 2, food. So the objective of this lesson was to help students effectively use food-related adjective and grammar structure such as used to, would, be used to, and get used to in its speaking task. So I was responsible for the presentation part of the lesson, while my other members, Misbah handled the set induction, Abner took care of the practice part, Izati led the production phase, and Sufan managed the closure. So during the presentation phase, for my part, I used strategies such as showing a video that introduced a descriptive adjective for food and asking several questions for them, and I also use slide presentation to present guided sentence modeling with simple grammar formula for each grammar structures. Uh, this led to make the content accessible and engaging for the students. Now I'm going to talk about recollection and observation. First, I will explain about the lesson objective. So the lesson was designed to help students use food adjective and apply grammar structure such as used to, would, be used to, and get used to in speaking tasks. So the objective was to enable students to describe their past and current eating habit using the language structures of the grammar structures. Okay, next, for the activities, for the presentation phase, for my part, I started with a video that showcased food-related adjective, which such as tasteless, bland, unhealthy, healthy, which help introduce the key vocabulary for the lesson, and asking them a question about the video to start the lesson, and that will related to the grammar structure that we'll learn later. So I then explain the grammar structure after watch the video and asking several questions. So providing a teacher-led explanation followed by guided sentence formation using a simple formula. Simple formula, which is the grammar structure and combining with the descriptive adjective for food. Okay, so this approach was intended to ensure that students could understand how to build sentence for each grammar structure and apply them correctly in speaking tasks. Okay, last but not least, for delivery approach, I use a combination of visual art in the short video and in the slide presentation, and interactive questioning also I use, and modeling to keep the student engaged and provide clear guidance. So the video actually help introduce the adjective, while my modeling of sentence formation, the student had a concrete example of how to use the grammar structure in a correct way. So additionally, I also ask students about open-ended question to encourage participation and ensure that students could apply the content actively and correctly. Next, I will dive into the critical analysis. So first, I will explain about the effectiveness. So the teaching method I used were effective in engaging students and achieving the lesson objective. The visual in the short video about descriptive adjective for food successfully captured the student attention, making the lesson more engaging. Next, the example provided on the slide presentation helped clarify the grammar structure, making them more comprehensible for the student, make the student understand better. So this method contribute to the student understanding of the lesson content. So for the challenge and unforeseen, one of the main challenge I encountered was time management. So as we know, during the presentation phase, we only have 10 minutes. So due to the tight 10-minute time frame, I found myself rushing through part of the lesson to ensure I cover all the material. So this left less time for me to interact with the student, which may have impacted their ability to fully absorb the content and engage in the discussion. So in the future, I will need to plan more carefully to balance content delivery with adequate student interaction. Now we will dive into the next point, which is strengths and weakness. So I have strengths and weakness. So first, I'm going to explain about my strengths. So one strength I observed during the lesson was my ability to provide clear instructions and use engaging video and slide presentation. So the short video and the slide help make abstract concept more accessible, and the example I provided were relatable to the student, which contribute to creating a positive and interactive learning environment. So this element seem to support student engagement and help them connect with the material more effectively. I also use a formula-based approach for the grammar structure, combining them with a descriptive adjective for food. So this method helps students understand how to form sentence in a clear, structured way, making it easier for them to apply the grammar rule correctly while describing food. So by breaking down the structure into simple formula steps, I was able to guide students more effectively in constructing sentence and applying them to real life situation. Okay, now for the weakness. One area where I could improve is my pacing. In the future, I will allocate time for each segment more effectively to ensure I can cover all the material without rushing or cutting important points short during the explanation, during the presentation part. So I realized that I could have included more example or simpler explanation for certain concept to better support students who were struggling. Moreover, I also recognize that I need to improve my communication skills. Sometimes when interacting with students, when communicate with students, I use informal language like guys, which may not be the most appropriate in a formal learning setting or environment. So I need to be more mindful of my language choices and ensure that my grammar is correct when speaking. So another area for improvement is checking for understanding. After delivering the content during the presentation, I should have paused and asked my student if they understood the material before moving on. Instead, I rush into asking questions to ask their understanding in attempt to conclude the lesson on time. So this actually affected the pacing and may have left some student unclear about the lesson content. Now I'm going to talk about impact on student and adaptation. First, I'm going to talk about impact on student. So I believe my approach positively impacted the student understanding of the topic. So the student appreciated the relatable topic and the visual, which made the content more engaging. However, due to the diverse proficiency level in the class, I had to adapt my teaching strategies to meet the need of all learners. Overall, the students were able to answer the question I posed quite well, and they successfully completed the exercise during practice phase. And then in the production part, during the role play activity, they demonstrated a good understanding of the grammar structure and were able to use them effectively. So this showed that the explanation of grammar structure in the presentation phase by me using the formula and an example sentence helped them apply the concept in the role play activity, allowing them to participate confidently and accurately. Next, about the adaptation to diverse needs. To ensure that all students were able to follow along with the content I delivered, I made a conscious effort to rephrase my explanation when necessary. This was especially important for students who seem confused or need the further clarification on specific concept. I also adapted my pacing to ensure that students who require additional practice had enough time to fully grasp the material before moving on. For instance, during the grammar explanation, I slowed down to give more examples which helped them understand the structure better. In addition, I recognize that students have varying diverse learning preference. So I aim to use a mix of teaching method to cater to this different. For example, I could offer more practical real life example that would appeal to kinesthetic learner, allowing them to engage with the material through movement or hands-on activity. But for visual learner, I plan to include more diagram in future lesson to enhance their understanding. So moving forward, I intend to continuously assess the effectiveness of my adaptation and refine my approach to ensure that every student, regardless of their learning style and regardless of their learning style, can fully engage with the lesson and achieve the learning objective. Next point, goal setting and action plan. I have my specific goals for improvement. So one of my goals moving forward is to improve my pacing during lesson. I plan to practice time management technique to ensure I can cover all content while allowing for enough interaction and student participation. Another goal is to improve my delivery, speaking more smoothly and calmly with the correct pronunciation. So this will help me engage with students better and create a more relaxed learning environment. So for the action plan, to improve pacing, I will rehearse my lesson and allocate specific time slot for each activity. I also plan to seek feedback from peers or mentors on how to balance content delivery and student interaction more effectively. Next, I will explore different teaching methods such as incorporating more varied multimedia to engage students with different learning styles. Last but not least, to improve my delivery, I will practice speaking in front of a mirror or record myself to identify areas where I can improve my fluency and composure. I will also focus on controlling my breathing to maintain a calm and a steady pace during lesson. Last but not least, the conclusion. So to summarize, this micro teaching experience emphasizes the importance of balancing content delivery with student engagement. The presentation stage was effective in laying the foundation for subsequent activities, ensuring that students had the necessary knowledge and understanding to move forward. While challenge did arise, particularly with time management and addressing diverse learning needs, so the reflection process has highlighted actionable improvement for future micro teaching session. I have learned that while direct instruction is essential for providing foundational knowledge, by incorporating interactive questioning and engaging activity is also crucial for fostering deeper student understanding and active participation. So I am really grateful for the opportunity to reflect on this teaching experience on this micro teaching for this subject, teaching, listening and speaking. It has provided me with valuable insight into my teaching style and areas for improvement. So I am committed to refining my technique and adapting my teaching strategy to better meet the diverse needs of my students. I look forward to implementing the change I have discussed to improve the future lesson and ensure that all students can achieve their learning goals. So that's all from me. Thank you.